All right, welcome to the revolution. Always, of course, clarify that it's a peaceful, nonviolent revolution. We're trying to get our democracy back. We're trying to do a lot of seemingly impossible things, unite the left and the right on the things we agree on, which is recapturing our government for the American people and not for the donor class, the corporate or the foreign government donor class. So we've been doing projects here. This is the third day, and we're trying to accomplish things one by one. One of the things that we're working on is a bill that would lower drug prices. It was an executive order of Donald Trump, a bill proposed by Ro Khanna, who's a progressive in Congress, so the left and the right working together there. He's only got 5 co-sponsors on the bill at this point, and if we got to about 100 co-sponsors, there would be tremendous momentum to introduce the legislation. So we want to get folks on the left and the right asking their Republican and Democratic congressmen to join it, but neither one of them has an excuse not to join it. So we wanted to start with Mark Pocan because he's one of the most reliable progressives in Congress. And so we asked you guys to reach out to him politely. Earlier in the show, I read to you guys that over now probably over 400 TYT viewers have reached out to Mark Pocan, and we got word here at TYT that Mark Pocan is now looking into the bill. God, that's awesome. Look, he hasn't signed on as a co-sponsor yet, but you got his attention. I mean, what did I tell you? Step by step, okay? So there's a long way from we got one congressman's attention to 100 co-sponsors to passing the bill to having lower drug prices. But the path to get there to that final result is exactly this path. And so, man, we're gonna do some fireworks the first time a congressman signs on, let alone the second time. If this thing starts to get momentum, there'll come a day when I get on here and I say, Congressman 17, 18, 19, and 20 signed on today, right? So the fact that you guys got his attention and he reached out and said, yes, we're now looking at it. We hadn't seen it before, now we're taking a look to see if we like it. Yes, yes. That's part of the reason we call it Operation Hope, okay? Love you guys. Now, a bunch of you wrote in with excellent suggestions on top of that. So I'm gonna read you, again, more interactive now, read you a bunch of the things you wrote in and tell you why I think they're good ideas and what else we can do with them, okay? So first, let's go to another update here. People like Sandra Sue, Kira Nikasashi, his husband, that's funny, MB, Ray, to name a few, sent in different websites that are tracking the Palestinians who've been killed, because that's the second issue. Can we stop the genocide? Can we, and if you think it's over because of that peace deal, Israel's got another thought coming for you. Okay, I've never seen them agree to not violate a ceasefire, and we think they're gonna keep going. But on top of that, we think that we're enabling Israel to do a lot of wrong things by funding them. We think we should stop the funding. Anyways, you guys wrote in with sites like Al Jazeera and The Guardian that have names of Palestinians who've been killed. So far, no photos, but names, so that's a start. Oh, here we go. Oh, those are the names from that are on Al Jazeera. This is what we mean by crowdsourcing. Could we have looked up and found out that Al Jazeera has those names? Yes, but in order for us to look up everything, it would require an enormous amount of manpower, staffing, and hence resources. Instead, you guys find it for us. We do it as a community, we do it as a group. And again, we've got left and right working on this now. So that's over 34,000 people killed, but that's because that was about a year ago, if I'm not mistaken. And so now, of course, unfortunately, there's a lot more people that are on that list. Okay, so that's a beginning. That's a beginning. We talk about how we could take Hin Rajab and maybe start with that. And Jack Callahan, one of our longtime viewers and one of the stalwarts of Operation Hope, found a bio of hers. Now, like I said, we're starting easy with Mark Pocan on the healthcare issue, and Hin Rajab on the Kids of Gaza one, because that was findable, but great, wonderful. Jack, nice job on that, I love it. So we're on the board in a couple of different ways. Now let's go to Joey Chan. He says, longtime viewer of the show, I want to help with the kidsofgaza.com website. Data engineer and application developer with a strong foundation in front end and back end technologies, i.e. data analytics and web development design. I found data on all casualties in Gaza for infants, children, women, and men. I can sort and organize the data to focus just on the infants and children. An idea I have for the website is to create a memorial wall or a scrolling wall where names of all the children stream by on the website in memory of the children's lives lost. Beautiful, Joey Chan. That's it. Now, could I create that site on my own? Oh, hell no, no way. In fact, if I asked like folks to do it internally, that would take us a long time. I bet you could do it way easier and quicker than us. So that would be amazing, brother. So we got kidsofgaza.com, and so I want folks to talk here to us and to each other. So I want to let you know, first of all, we got, as I told you, if you want to email us, and a lot of people have done this and appreciate it, it's a good way to communicate, hope@tyt.com. That's an email you can use, hope@tyt.com. But also, now we are directing people for suggestions to tyt.com/ideas. Now, why is tyt.com/ideas a good place to do it too? Because when you send an email, we get it and we read it and we try to use it if it's great, amazing, etc. But if you do it at tyt.com/ideas, then other people can chime in, because then everybody gets to see it, not just us, right? And then probably, I hope that people will build upon the good ideas as we go forward. So now an anonymous member who's been watching for 15 years wrote in with this. By the way, before I go to that, again, Joey, if you manage to do that website, which I believe you can, and for example, I know nothing about AI, but can we use AI these days to gather that information? We always need fact checkers because we never want to put out something that isn't true. But we'll get to fact checkers later. First, let's start to build it. If you build it, you're a bit of an American hero, right? So so this anonymous member of TYT says, I'm a broke freelance motorcycle mechanic. Last summer though, I sold a motorcycle to my D-bag of a rep, Tim Wahlberg. I've loosely kept in contact with him, mainly due to my connection to the bike. We've never talked politics. I've done my best to avoid it. I think he's slimy, but I'm friendly to him. I keep thinking that I might somehow be able to use that connection for some sort of good though. I think the HR 3493 bill might be something I could mention, maybe nudge him towards, since it's a Trump executive order. If I were to try to keep this connection, I would be for motorcycles on the surface, but having the goal of actually trying to influence him in some way I could. With that in mind, does TYT have any advice or ideas on how I can approach this? Something good has to come from selling this guy my dad's motorcycle, right? Thank you in advance for any thoughts or help you can provide. Keep kicking ass and let's save this effing country. Okay, so I love the question, love the thought. Yes, definitely. Look guys, normally in order to talk to a national politician, you have to have at a minimum a $5,000 check. They don't talk to constituents at all anymore. They have staffers underneath the staffers that talk to the constituents and the voters. But the congressmen, do you know they spent 30 to 70% of their time making phone calls, begging people for donations? And if you give them a big donation, then they're like, oh yeah, absolutely, sir, no question. 5,000 is a starter, but when you get to the big pharma level, APAC level, etc., then we're in the billions. So, but you have a connection that others don't. So yes, definitely use it. Look, be friendly, and you're asking him, oh my God, did you see? By the way, you can say a couple of congressmen, and remember, 3 out of the 5 co-sponsors are Republicans. Anna Paula Luna is one of the sponsors, and another deep right-winger, is it Gibbs, who's, I read it to you guys on another show, is one of the sponsors. So you can say, hey, it's a Trump executive order. Yeah, on lowering drug prices. I'm really impressed by Trump for proposing this, and it's great to see it as a bill. What do you think? Are you going to get on board with it? And so, look, what's the worst that could happen? No, or he blows you off, or he doesn't, give you a positive answer. Brother, you got the best shot of any of us, right? So now we can call into his office, and we have, and you're seeing some bit of success with Mark Buchanan on that. But if you got a direct contact, definitely go for it. You're a hero for just trying. If you manage to connect and he signs on, oh, hero of heroes. So look, this is not a left-wing thing. This is right and left. So let's go. And I was gonna say, if you like your Republican congressman, now you're on the left, so you don't like your Republican congressman, but These days, do Republicans like their Republican congressmen? Do Democrats like their Democratic congressmen? Not often, right? All right, but excellent. I loved that you wrote in. Oh, and they have a nice little TYT live glasses that they made. Can we see that? I love how creative you guys are too. That's perfect, beautiful, thank you. All right, Jasmine wrote in, writing, I think this is the poll Cenk was talking about. It states that opinions of 90% of Americans have no impact on politicians. So a bunch of you wrote in trying to find that magical poll. So I'm gonna tell you more about that in a second. The poll that I saw, I'm positive I saw it, I quoted it one time and I just can't find it on Google, is do you think that politicians serve their donors or voters? And 93% said donors. Okay, but it doesn't matter because you guys found so many other polls and studies. So the one that she found is actually one that's also in my book, but I wanted to remind you of it because really, guys, remember the healthcare and the Gaza one are just starter issues. I mean, again, if we win there, it's amazing. Imagine we lower drug prices for all Americans. That would be the greatest thing any of us have ever done. You could retire off that, right? But even so, that's a starter for actually getting the American people back in charge of their government, actually having a democracy, a republic, instead of what we have now, which is corporate rule and foreign government rule. So in this case, this study was amazing. They studied, and this is pre-Citizens United. That's why I always tell you guys, actually they started legalizing bribery in 76 and 78 in 2 Supreme Court decisions. So the Princeton and Northwestern professors studied 2,000 pieces of legislation over 20 years of American politics. And they found that they tried to find, did the bottom 90%, that's 9 out of 10 of us, have any effect on bills in America? And here's what the Gillens and Page Perspective on Politics says. Quote, the preferences of the average American appear to have only a minuscule, near zero, statistically non-significant impact upon public policy. So 90% of us don't matter at all. They studied a giant number of bills, and no matter what we did, it's not that we can't get a bill passed. As I mentioned yesterday, Jon Stewart got a bill passed from the outside, and these days, nobody's passing anything on the inside that helps us at all. That's why we're trying to do this and pass it from the outside. Jon Stewart did it for first responders in 9/11, and now you look at it, if you choose the insider strategy, and a lot of people go, oh no, I'm gonna go inside and then I'm gonna work from the inside and then I'm gonna eventually, nah, it never turned, nothing. They never wind up doing anything. Nancy Pelosi says, oh, I have a poster for universal health care in my basement from 30 years ago. Well, then why didn't you ever do anything about it? Because the insiders take the money, they gobble it up, and then they serve those donors. They don't serve us. And you see it here, 0%, no effect at all. That's exactly what we have to change. That's the biggest issue of all. Get money out of politics and get our government back. This was from a while back, but I'm gonna read you these stats because they're amazing to give you a sense of how deep this problem goes. And then I'm gonna read more of your suggestions. And then if you write in today, I'll read some of those as well. So in just a 5-year period, 200 of the most politically active companies in the US spent $5.8 billion trying to influence politicians. So this Represent.us did a great video about this and a little bit of a presentation, and this website is theirs. So wow, $5.8 billion. Now, do you think business interests throw away $5.8 billion, or do they look like they're obsessed with money and they would never throw it away? They view that $5.8 billion as an investment. Now you guys wanna guess it in your head. How much did they get back for that $5.8 billion in our crooked politicians? Now, if they got less than 5.8 billion, it turns out to be a bad investment. If they got 6 billion back, oh my God, they made $200 million. That would be a fantastic investment, right? Well, on 5.8 billion, you want to get a little bit better return. Imagine if they doubled it and they had got like $11 billion back. Wow, okay. So what did they get back? Just those 200 companies. $4.4 trillion. Guys, this is the great American robbery. Money in politics is all about robbing us blind. And that's why they do the culture war stuff. And I know some of you get upset, no, I care a lot about the culture wars, and that's those things that are really important. Look, I'm not saying that those aren't important, and we can continue to fight over those things. But when we fight over those things and don't focus on what matters the most, oh, the donor class loves it. They love it so much. They're like, yes, fight, 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 fight. And don't notice that we just robbed you of $4.4 trillion. And that was from a while back. This robbery's been going on for a long time. They've robbed us of tens of trillions of dollars. So now, last two amazing stats from there, and then we'll go back to your suggestions. Okay, you want to know, so the donors that that the politicians listen to most, I said 5,000 earlier. The ones past 10,000 are the people who run our government, basically, right? They give money to politicians. The politicians work for them. So, what percentage of Americans give more than $10,000 to politicians? You think the top 1%, right? No. The top 0.1%? No. 0.02%. That's who runs this country. 99.98% of us don't control a damn thing. Okay, but let's be more specific, okay? And we'll be more generous. So I'm sorry, it was 0.05%. Want to be accurate, 0.05%. Give that. Now, this one is the one that you can't argue with. 2/3 of all political donations come from just 0.2% of Americans. So 2/3 of the money that controls the politicians comes from them. So if you're being generous, you get to a number where 99.8%. It's a little bit higher than the number I gave you before. 99.8% of us, no power. 0.2%, all the power. Okay, now others wrote in as well. Okay, here, let me read actually somebody from Twitch right now, and then I'm gonna go back to good suggestions as well. Itchy Brother Dragon said, Cenk, since TYT is friends with MTG, does it make sense to reach out to MTG and get her on board with the prescription bill, or would it be ill-advised timing-wise? Oh, such a good question. First of all, I don't know that we're friends with Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I do know she's, of course, been on a couple of times. And you know what, that's such a good suggestion, because she's the one that just said, hey, I don't want our premiums doubling. The Democrats are right about that. So there she is, caring about healthcare and caring about prices, and she's going in a more populist direction. So, all right, damn it, now you're gonna put work on me. Okay, yesterday I said I'd reach out to a couple of organizations. We'll do that next week about the Kids of Gaza project. I will try to reach out to Representative Greene. Brother, if based on your suggestion, Marjorie Taylor Greene comes on this show and says she's on board for this bill, nice job, nice job. Let's see what happens, okay? All right. Oh, look at all these beautiful people. I didn't ask for this, but this is amazing. Lady AF Box sent in 5 Young Turks memberships on YouTube, and Fat Satter gifted 10. You guys are amazing. David Rodriguez says, Pocan is a decent man, I like him. Okay. Oh, this is another good idea, good point. Sneer30 says, how about we apply pressure to Josh Hawley, because he's running scared right now. We need anything and everything to help him with his next campaign. And he said he's no longer taking donor money. It's true, Josh Hawley not taking corporate PAC money anymore, which was a bit shocking. So that's not a bad idea at all. The only issue there is it's not in the Senate yet. So he's in the Senate, this bill is in the House. It has to pass the House, then it goes to the Senate, then it goes to Trump. But if it passes the House, it is gonna have so much momentum, because then the whole country at that point will have known, oh my God, the American people rose up together, demanded this bill, and somehow magically got it passed by Congress, by the House. Then if the senators don't vote for it, they're gonna seem like giant sellouts. So if we get to that point, it's gonna be a titanic clash, and I'm gonna love to see it. But so we're gonna have to save Hawley for later, but he could come in handy on other things and make sense. Amy Meganson says, I watched Tucker Carlson with Tim Burchett today. Burchett mentioned how sick of the corruption in DC he is. Maybe we can do a letter campaign for him. He's a Tennessee Republican, he doesn't take corporate donations. Boom, there you go. Okay, let's try Burchett. So, I mean, look, I suggested Pokane, you suggest Burchett. You have a good reason for doing that. Burchett sometimes drives me crazy, but that's because I'm on the left and he's on the right. But that's okay, we're uniting here. So I'll try Marjorie Taylor Greene. You guys, can someone find Burchett's social media and his email for his office? Send it in while we're doing the show live. We got a couple minutes here, and I'll read it out to everyone. And again, we're not bothering people. We're not harassing them. We're politely asking them, this is a Trump executive order on lowering drug prices. If you're not taking corporate PAC money and you're a populist and you're a Republican, this should be a no-brainer for you. No-brainer. So politely ask him to sign on to this bill that is verbatim Trump's drug executive order on lowering drug prices. Okay, now let me get to other wonderful suggestions that you guys sent in over the last couple of days. Keziah Bush said about the children in Gaza, oh, she's doing one every day. She's taking a picture or a video of children in Gaza, and then on top of that, she says what she does is, I'm saying she, but honestly, sorry, because I don't know the gender, I'm not familiar with the name, but anyway, this person says, they then ask, our taxpayer dollars did that? And she does it once a day. Or not ask, but says. Look, if all of us did that, by the way, you found a picture or a video that I'm trying to do, like basically on a larger scale at kidsofgaza.com or whatever site you guys build, that would be great. But if you do it on your own and you ask, or you tell people, you know that our tax dollars did that, that's beautiful. Because we want people to wake up to the fact that they're taking money out of our paychecks, sending it to Israel to commit a genocide. It's not about Israel, guys. If any country was doing that, getting money from us and then committing a genocide, I'd be furious no matter who they did it to or who they were. Jonathan McKinney had a fun idea. It's like, look, the lobbyists run all of Washington. Why don't we have lobbyists? Like we kind of create a lobbyist for the people. And Wolfpack does this in a sense. It's all volunteers. Their site is fightcorruption.us, and their only goal is getting money out of politics and saving this country. I love that. You can join them as well. But he's saying, get the people's lobbyists. I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but I kind of love that idea. Richard Ojeda is running for office. Rebellion PAC's helping him. Now he's a Democrat. He's a huge populist. Got into trouble the other day for being overly populist a bunch of years ago. But anyways, Ojeda has an awesome idea. He's like, we should do body cams on lobbyists. Oh, that'll get no votes in Washington. Because they're like, no, we would never want the American people finding out what we're talking about behind closed doors when the money's being exchanged. So, but the people's lobbyist is a great idea. Okay, so if someone has an idea of how we make the people's lobbyist happen, write in about that. You could write in, as I said, tyt.com/ideas, that's a discussion board, or hope@tyt.com. All right. Oh, and then Dori Shafar had another powerful idea, that if once we have the kids of Gaza's photos, we could send it out to our representatives or our senators or whoever it might be, and then each of us can begin to kind of adopt the kids symbolically and say, hey, this is a kid that for the kids who are alive in Gaza that I adopted symbolically. And can you make sure that we don't send money that winds up killing you or killing her? That's super powerful. So we're trying to catalog these. We're trying to keep this in mind for how we do it. But I told you guys would have better ideas than me. So all this is great. Sarah Perez wrote in, and by the way, guys, when you write in, if you don't want your name like the other guy did with anonymous, just say, don't read my name or leave your name out. They pointed out not only are we having all these kids that are killed, 20,000 kids killed in Gaza, but according to Brown University's Cost of War project, we've already sent Israel $21.7 billion in the middle of the genocide. And so she did a calculation. It basically costs us $1 million for every kid we killed. So American citizens had to pay $1 million per dead kid. That's another one that's super powerful. Sarah Kearney volunteered as a professional photographer. Wang Jun also wrote in about that earlier. He's a great TYT member. So if we need that, we could contact you guys. Constantine, another great TYT member, wrote in. He's got a background in web development, so he might be able to help us. And then he had a good idea about, he was talking about his pastor. Actually, Constantine, that triggered a different idea for me. You know what, I think that this one's on me, and it really, I don't know how you guys can help. But actually, a lot of you, I say a lot, I have no idea, but I assume some of you are Muslim American out there. I'm assuming that all the religions and backgrounds are out there. I would love for Muslim Americans to start visiting churches on Sunday. First of all, tell them you're coming, don't just show up, okay? But have the mosque's leader reach out to the church's leader and say, hey, you know what, Jesus is a holy prophet to us in Islam, and we want to share a day with you guys, and we wanted to come to one of your sermons, come to one of your churches, and just get to know our neighbors and interact. I bet that would do a world of good. If Muslims in all the different communities they are in America, organize trips to churches with respect and love and warmth, I think it'd make a huge difference. So, but one idea at a time. Okay, but thank you for triggering that idea. Appreciate it. Pavan Madam Seti wrote in about how she loves the, again, I shouldn't assume that they love the populist plank. And thank you for that. Again, populist plank is awesome. But let's try these two, and then eventually we definitely want to push the populist plank too. And now I see my list here. Andy Biggs is the other conservative who signed on to the lowering drug prices bill. All right, last couple of comments here, and then I will give members the story of the day. And here we go. Brendan Jones, thank you for gifting 5 Young Turks memberships, and says, Cenk, your energy is contagious. I mean, God help you, but okay. Thank you for saying that. Pessimistic Progressive on TYT.com. You should reach out to Rashida Tlaib about this. She could contact her constituents about family members. That's about the kids of Gaza. Another good idea. I got to be honest with you. Reaching Rashida Tlaib is incredibly difficult. I don't know why, but it is. I could reach Marjorie Taylor Greene easier than I could reach Rashida Tlaib, which is super weird, but it is what it is. Sudden writes in, open source development is one of the best parts of the internet, and I'd bet dollars to donuts there are plenty of developers in the community willing to contribute to building websites or other tools. Well, Sudden, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I don't know exactly how to effectuate that. And so, but again, we're all learning and doing this together. So if you have an idea on how to reach those folks, and then we can connect them with the website we're doing, and they could open source it, great, wonderful. Then we can build another site on the different issues and start to get some momentum. So again, write in either at tyt.com/ideas or hope@tyt.com. Oh, here we go. Finally, we found it. Eclectic, nice job, okay? He found the poll. A majority say their views are left out of the political process. An overwhelming 93% of respondents believe that elected officials listen more to deep-pocketed donors than regular voters. Republicans express more cynicism. Only 5% of Republican respondents believe regular voters are heard more by their elected leaders. See, I told the left, look, I know they went for Trump, and on the left, we don't think Trump's the right guy, etc. But they actually did want to drain the swamp. The politicians are full of crap, but why would the voters not want to drain the swamp? Why would they be pro-corruption? No, that's for the politicians and the media. The actual voters, Republican and Democrat, hate corruption. And you see that the Republicans hate it even more than Democrats do when it comes to the voters. But by the way, it's 5% for one and 7% for the other who believes that the politicians are actually representing us. But I'm even still amazed by that. Really? There's 7% of us overall who think the politicians are like, oh my God, I can't wait to represent the voters. Oh, no, I don't care about the money. Maybe that's the 7% that's in mainstream media. Eclectic, thank you for finding that poll. Cara, please grab that poll for us because I want to be able to cite it at all times. Okay, and Eclectic wrote in, I like that opening of welcome to the revolution. Well, that is kind of what we're trying to do here, a political, peaceful one. All right, guys, so I think that's a lot of progress for a couple of days. So I love it. Imagine Kai come back on Friday and we got Pocan and Burchett and Marjorie Taylor Greene's on some point next week. Again, I don't want to overpromise. We're just at the beginning, but it's a beautiful day that we're trying. And so for all of you out there with hope in your hearts that came here to try, love you. All right, for the members, we got a fun story of the day for you guys. I promised, oh boy, my legendary circumcision story. So if you haven't heard that one, it's a doozy, having nothing to do with any of this. Okay, that's it. But it is a fun one. All right, if you want to be a member, that has again nothing to do with the Operation Hope. You can hit the join button below on YouTube or tyt.com/join. All right, much love, guys. I'll see the members in a sec. All right, if you're a longtime TYT member, you might have heard this story of the day. But for those of you who are new or haven't heard it before, buckle up, brace for impact. So, I was gonna say among Muslims, and I'm pretty sure that's true. But the Muslim experience is so different throughout the world. Did you know not a single top 5 most populous, I'm saying it wrong. Anyway, Muslim country, most populated Muslim countries in the world, not any of them are in the Middle East. The top 5 are all outside the Middle East. So number 1 is Indonesia, most amount of Muslims in there. Number 2 is Pakistan. Number 3 is India, believe it or not. I forget if number 4 is Bangladesh, and number 5 is Nigeria. So none of them are in the Middle East. So why are Americans only associate Muslims with the Middle East? Because Israel needed to conquer a lot of the Middle East, so they say, oh, Muslims, Arabs, Muslims. Nobody's talking about the Muslims in Indonesia. There's more Muslims there than anywhere, right? So we're like, and by the way, it's not just Israel. There's also oil in the Middle East. So, we gotta attack them, take their oil, right? So, and Indonesian culture is so different than Turkish culture or Afghan culture or Egyptian culture. So tons of different cultures. And by the way, there's tons of German Muslims and Muslims in Kazakhstan is hugely Muslim, etc. So there's 1.6 billion folks. So they all have slightly different cultures. So in my culture, in Turkish culture, you don't get circumcised at birth. There's like a rite of passage ritual, kind of like a bar mitzvah or a quinceañera. All the different cultures have different rites of passage for girls and boys. And in the case of Turks and Muslims in Turkey, you get circumcision around 6 years old. And at around 6 years old, you feel it and you remember it. So and you have a party around it. And yes, this is super strange. I know people get freaked out by it. But don't think that I wasn't freaked out by it. I grew up in Turkey and I didn't like it either. I was also very surprised by it, right? So they're like, okay, you're gonna get circumcised. I'm like, what's that? And they're like, well, and then they explain what it is. I'm like, okay, you don't know, as a 6-year-old kid, you don't know that's gonna happen. So then we go to this doctor's place to do it, and they invited a lot of family and friends. And I'm like, and what are they up to? Turns out we're doing it in the backyard and the family and friends are watching. Every piece of this was as surprising to me as it is to you, okay? And so then this doctor was supposed to be a famous circumciser, which is already hilarious, right? And he then comes in and he goes, okay, everybody's watching. Oh, and they put you in an outfit because it's supposed to make you feel better. It's like a cape with like little, almost like a bespectacled cape and a little hat and stuff. I gotta find that picture for you guys and show it to you. And he goes, do you wanna do your own painkiller shot? And I'm like, no, I'm 6. I was rational even back then. I'm like, why would I do it? You're the doctor, isn't that's like kind of an important thing, right? He's like, no, don't worry about it. It'll be fun. Everybody will get to see it. It's fun when the kid does it. Like, fun for you, maybe. Anyways, he put it and then I press down. That's my rough recollection of it. And I was like, oh yeah, all right. So then they say, my parents say, all right, look, we're gonna go on a fun trip. We're gonna go to where we grew up, which is in southeastern Turkey, Kilis, which is near Gaziantep, which is kind of a larger city down there. Like whenever I run into Syrians, I say, oh, my parents were kind of from Antep. They're like, Antep, we love Antep. We go buy dried vegetables and fruits there. Okay, God bless. Anyways, we go down there and I'm in the cape and I'm in the hat and I'm already feeling goofy. And then I meet Ali. It's a cute little sheep that they got down there and I start playing around with Ali. I'm like, oh, well, this is kind of fun. Not, like Ali's fun. And then they come and they slit Ali's throat. I'm like, no, it turns out Ali was a present for food that night. Okay, look, there's a nice side to this story. I know it sounds really bad, but the real reason they do the sacrifice is so they could feed the poor. So the family takes a small part of the lamb, and by the way, the lamb is cut in a halal way. I don't know if it matters, but same thing for kosher, halal, basically. So they do it, even though it looked gruesome to me, but they do it in a way that is apparently the least painful way or whatever. And then they take the majority of the food that comes from that, and we all eat lamb, it's in the gyros, etc., and they give it to the poor. If you've ever been to a mosque, they'll talk your ear off for 45 minutes straight about how you gotta help the poor, you gotta help the needy, you gotta feed the needy, you gotta feed the poor, you gotta clothe them, you gotta help them. So that's the beautiful part about Islam. So they did that, and then later that night, everybody was eating Ali, and they're like, you want some? I'm like, no, I do not. No, I'm good. They're like, we got it for, no, nope, I'm good, I'm good. I haven't eaten chunks of lamb ever since. I don't think it's because I was traumatized. It's hard to traumatize me. I usually traumatize others. Anyways, but since then, I've tried it. I just don't like it. But I do like lamb and gyros, to be fair. So isn't it amazing the different cultures that folks have? So when it came to my son, what did I do? I don't think I've ever told this. Maybe I told it once. So of course, I waited till he was 16. I'm kidding. No, I was like, the doctor's like, do you want to do the circumcision now? And then I think my wife asked, or do you want to wait like tradition? I'm like, no waiting. I don't. Some traditions are beautiful and awesome. Some a little less so. Let's go do it now. And so we did. And then we gave him some Tylenol. And no, I'm kidding. He's fine. Believe it or not, we did a circumcision when he was a baby, like most people do, and he didn't get autism. So there, RFK Jr. Okay, all right, guys, much love. I know, wacky, wild story. Probably a couple of you have heard it a number of times. Anyways, we're gonna see you on Monday. This is when apparently I go bye-bye. every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.